Imagine this. You're at work, surrounded by laughter, chatter, and the sound of sewing machines. It's a normal Saturday afternoon in New York City. Suddenly, you smell smoke. You look around, fire. The door won't open. The windows are locked. Panic spreads. You hear screams, breaking glass, people jumping, and in minutes, hundreds of lives are lost. This isn't a movie. This really happened. Today, on Biography Plus, we uncover one of the darkest moments in American industrial history. The tragedy that changed labor laws forever. It was a calm Saturday, March 25th, 1911. Inside the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, located on the top 3 floors of a 10-story building in New York City, hundreds of workers were busy finishing their weekly quota. Most of them were young women, immigrants from Italy and Eastern Europe, just teenagers trying to survive in the new world. They worked long hours in cramped rooms, earning barely a few dollars a week. But that day, something would happen that would haunt the city forever. The factory was crowded, hot, and filled with flammable materials, piles of fabric, scraps, and lint floating in the air. Cigarettes were strictly forbidden, but people whispered that some workers smoked in secret. Around 4:40 p.m., when the shift was almost over, a small flame appeared in a bin full of cloth. Within seconds, it grew into a raging fire. Someone shouted, "Fire! Fire!" Panic erupted. The flames spread faster than anyone could move. The workers rushed toward the exits, but the doors were locked from the outside to prevent theft or unauthorized breaks. Some tried to reach the elevator, but it could only carry a few people at a time. Others ran to the fire escape, but it collapsed under the weight of the terrified workers, sending them plunging to the ground. Smoke filled the factory. The lights went out. Girls screamed for help as the fire surrounded them. Some ran to the windows, gasping for air, but the heat was unbearable. Firefighters arrived within minutes, but their ladders only reached the 6th floor. The factory was on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. They stood helplessly below, watching as the trapped workers made the most desperate decision of all, to jump. Witnesses in the street below described a rain of human bodies. Women, some holding hands, leaping from the burning building. One firefighter said, "I saw girls jumping, their dresses on fire. They fell like burning stars." In less than 20 minutes, the fire was over. But the horror remained. When the smoke cleared, the scale of the tragedy became clear. 146 people had died, 123 of them young women. Some were only 14 years old. They were found near locked doors, in stairwells, and beside sewing machines. Their dreams, their youth, their lives, gone in a single afternoon. New York City was in shock. Crowds gathered outside the morgues. Families searched for missing daughters, wives, and sisters. The newspapers called it the fire that shamed the nation. It wasn't just a factory fire. It was a symbol of greed, neglect, and the human cost of profit. The owners of the factory, Max Blank and Isaac Harris, were known as the Shirtwaist Kings. They had locked the doors to prevent workers from stealing fabric or taking unauthorized breaks. When they were brought to trial, their defense argued that they didn't know the doors were locked, and unbelievably, they were acquitted. The city was outraged. The 2 men collected insurance money, more for each life lost than they ever paid in wages. But from this tragedy rose something powerful: change. People demanded justice. Massive protests filled the streets. Over 100,000 mourners joined a silent funeral march through New York. Women carried signs that read, "We mourn the dead and fight for the living." The labor movement, especially the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, grew stronger than ever. For the first time, America began to take workers' safety seriously. New laws were passed. Fire drills became mandatory. Factory inspections became regular, and doors could never again be locked during working hours. The victims of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire did not die in vain. Their sacrifice changed the lives of millions who came after them. Even today, more than a century later, people still visit the site of the tragedy. The building still stands, now part of New York University. A small plaque honors the victims, but the memory of that day lives in every workplace safety rule, every exit sign, every unlocked door. The story of the Triangle Fire is not just about death. It's about courage, sacrifice, and the power of human outrage to bring change. It reminds us that behind every rule we take for granted, there are lives that were lost to make it happen. Here on Biography Plus, we tell these stories not just to remember the past, but to understand the price of progress and the cost of forgetting it. These were not just factory workers. They were daughters, sisters, dreamers, fighting for a better life in a time that gave them so little. The next time you see a fire alarm, an emergency exit, or a workplace safety sign, remember them. The 146 souls who never made it home. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Biography Plus. Because here, every forgotten story deserves to be remembered. Thank you for watching. Biography Plus, where history comes alive, one story at a time.